card play. But yeah, I mean, I've been a part of some worse cheats than AJ's cheats. Now, that was in a different game, a game of Boo-Ray. And I won't get into
somebody cheated in Boo-Ray? I don't know how that happened. That's like that's when people show up with guns at the locker room. Yeah. That game is the guns at the locker room game.
Who cheated?
Yeah, how'd that work? What are you talking about? Fake drugs?
Listen, the individual suffered enough. So I'm not going to put him on blast, but there used to be a great euchre card game on the plane. I wasn't part of it because I was playing, we were doing some Blu-ray, but it was Matt Flynn and Graham Harrell against, I think it was TJ Lang and Josh Sitton. And there was 0 people playing by the rules in that game, I can promise you that.
Yeah, and they probably all have the same attitude as AJ. Will you fight me? That's what AJ said to me. That's what he said, are you going to fight
this? If there's money on the line, if there's money on the line, I'm by the book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. Aaron?
Yeah, just like in golf, right, AJ?
Oh, I don't cheat in golf. You know that. I don't need to. I'm putting everything out. I don't need gimmies. I don't need any of that.
You're a big fluffer.
Is he? That makes sense because this guy will hit the ball into the woods. Okay, into this ball, into the woods. And then somehow, I think he cuts down trees too. He'll somehow have a direct line at the green, 75 yards into the woods with a perfect line. The golf gods bless this, and the cards gods do too. This dude gets cards on a regular basis as well.
Well, he's the classic. He'll start the hole with a Top Flight XL and finish it with a Pinnacle Gold.
Ryan Hawk, you son of a bitch.
What the hell?
He's got to be a part of that entire thing. Guy's beating up the lake and throwing balls all over the course. Hey, Happy New Year, Aaron. How was the weekend? What did you do for the New Year? We've seen some, and this is, obviously, we talk a lot of shit on the show. It's been very cool to see what you've been posting on your IG stories about thought and life, happy, everything like that. Feels like you did a lot of reflecting this weekend. Is that real? And how was the New Year?
I did a lot of sleeping. We had the Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, so I did a lot of sleeping. Watched some football Saturday and Sunday. Had dinner in the city on Sunday, but I took it pretty easy for the most part. I think the New Year is always a time for good reflection, and every now and then I see something on a friend's story or post that I like, and I saw this post on a friend's page, and there was like 10 different kind of reflections from the year, and the one that I posted was that I met my happiest and saddest self this year. That one just kind of rang true for me because there was some really beautiful moments and some really difficult, sad moments. So the cool thing is when you post something like that, there's some awesome responses from time to time. So people reaching out and saying, that hit me too, and I went through the same stuff. So, it's nice to connect in that way. I love Rumi poetry as well. My godson's middle name is actually Rumi. Randall's second son, his middle name is Rumi. So, him and I both love Rumi poetry. So, every now and then I'll post some of that stuff, but it's interesting, you get some interesting responses from it. I'm sure people think I'm, super weird with just about everything I do. And there's also people that maybe appreciate some of the occasional non-cliche-ish, posts.
Aaron, you went into a dark hole, for a while to find your true happiness. You went into the jungle to do something that makes you go out the attic and the basement, right?
Very cool, yeah.
To find yourself in there.
Time.
I think everybody, I think we're all very appreciative of the fact of how open you are about how you feel and mental health and everything. I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people in that particular facet. Now, granted, do people think you're weird? I assume that is definitely true. I assume that is definitely true.
And I'm fine with both of those things. I think, I'm trying to live, as authentic and genuine as possible. And I think there are people that, that have been inspired. And I appreciate it. Jordan Poyer talked about it recently. And Jordan and I have become good buddies the last couple of years. There's, like I said, after on the show many times, after I talked about Aya, there were a lot of people that reached out and were interested in the sports world and the entertainment world. And it's been great to be able to connect with those people. Some people who follow through and have done their own journey. Some people who are just not ready for it yet, which is great. But I definitely encourage people to look into it. And I don't think it's smart to maybe recommend it because people always want to blame other people for certain things. But I can speak from my own experience. It was life changing, has been life changing, and it's going to be something that I look forward to doing in some form or fashion this off season as well.
Aya? Is that what you said?
Just, I'm sure there'll be some sort of, ceremony this off season. Not sure what medicine, but there'll be something.
Hell yeah. So we got that toad thing, right? We got the
toad.
The toad thing. And I just heard you call it Aya. I feel so cool when I say that. I'm going to walk into a crowd that I know knows. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, we talking Aya?
You guys got Aya?
We got Aya.
Talking what we doing?
We doing the Aya. Or is there's some others as well, right? There's some other things that go in there. And what do they do, actually? They're like a mental reset. They kind of open your eyes. What is it? What is really the benefit of that, if you could take us back in time a little bit?
Benefit of what are we talking about? Are we talking about Bufo, Aya, mescaline? What are we talking about?
Bufo? What's Bufo?
Bofa?
Bufo is the toad. It's
I'm a child.
Different kind of toad.
Yeah. Listen, all medicines should be respected and revered and done in with some reverence, because medicines can be can be healing, and they also can be poison. So I think you got to approach each medicine with the proper type of reverence. They all have different experiences associated with them, and if you want more information, hit me up offline.
Okay, hey, just hit Aaron up. He'll lead you in the right direction in that whole thing. The beginning of a new year is a good time to have this discussion because there's a lot of people trying to find themselves.
Yes. Yeah, you bet. Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the things. Isn't that kind of what the Aya and the Bofa and that's like a massive piece of it all, right? Like people are trying to find, I don't want to say find themselves, but like find happiness, right? Isn't that like kind of one of the steps of the whole process there for some people? I do not have the attention span or the toughness to be able to go through any of this stuff. But for folks that are seeking, that is kind of what it is about, right? For you, that is kind of what it was, right?
Yeah, purpose, understanding, connection, joy. A simple psilocybin journey can really open up, some pretty euphoric experiences. There's a lot of great research out there that's pairing different types of medicine. Some plant-based, some synthetic, to help so many veterans now, people dealing with depression, people dealing with PTSD. There's a lot of great clinics, and the alphabet gangsters who control a lot of the medicine. I say that very loosely. That gets cleared. Aren't exactly on board with giving a lot of clearance to some of the stuff yet. But there's a lot of great studies. There's obviously enormous anecdotal evidence of healing, but there's also some incredible studies that are going on. There's some incredible people, like the people at MAPS organization, that have been doing in this space for 30, 40 years, trying to get their research out there, be able to let people know there's other ways of healing depression, PTSD, some of these issues, mental health issues, than just getting you on antidepressants for the rest of your life and dealing with all the side effects associated with those. So, it's fun to be able to, I got to speak at the MAPS conference this year, and that was
Were you wearing
really
the leather
awesome.
jacket? Was that where you were wearing a leather jacket? You remember how cool you looked?
That was the Bitcoin one.
Oh, which, by the way, still up if you bought it a long time
Yeah,
ago.
that was good. I'm not sure. I was probably, wearing something black at the MAPS. I'm not sure exactly what I wore.
Did you have one of those cool necklaces?
I'm like AJ. AJ is, you see him like yesterday on the sidelines of the game. If you had no idea, just you taking a stab in the dark, what's AJ Hawk going to be wearing on the sidelines? Black long sleeve shirt is, a really safe bet. For whatever reason, he doesn't like showing off his hairless arms that he shaves. But he's always going to be in black.
Hey, and his legs, too. I saw that because he had his pants on, and when he was standing up to look at my cards and sitting back down, his pants kind of rode up a little bit in the calves. I saw some good definition at the bottom of the calf.
Fantastic.
I'm like, that's a shaved leg right there. I used to shave my leg. Look at how good those calves look.
Trimmed, yeah. Use hair clippers. Boom. Take it everything.
Yeah, of course you're not.
But he's like Christina's husband in the other guy's
Sure.
shape.
I've seen it. This is fun.
Guy has beard.
Aim for the bushes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, hey.
Will Ferrell.
Yep, Will Ferrell.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, we're doing gun tests?
Bingo.
Despot.
Despot.
When's the last time?
Despot.
When's the last time you did a Despot? Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
September 08.
Yeah, you're right. That is who AJ. Anyways, AJ, your question for old Aaron Rodgers, pal.
Aaron, I wonder if has the Jets PR reached out to you at all? We saw Kirk Cousins kind of lead the skull chant shirtless, wearing a chain. His son was there. Have you given any thought to possibly doing that? We know that your physique was obviously one of the things you worked out really hard going into this season. I'm sure you still are jacked. Like, would you do this? What Kirk did?
Well, we don't have a whole pregame chant.
Oh! Wait! Watch your mouth! That guy used to run towards
We don't have the
fires.
clapping,
Wow.
Shit. We have 3, specific people, Fireman Ed and 2 other guys who do they get their things going. They get the JETS. But I think they're pretty territorial about that stuff. That's their shit. So
You do it with shirtless with a fireman's hat on?
So you walk over there in some tighty whities, fireman head, Ed, maybe jersey,
Yeah.
firefighter helmet on. You'll be welcomed.
I think that there's rumors of increased ticket prices with the Jets this year. Maybe to offset some of that, wouldn't it be a great idea to have, because of the firefighter connection to New York, a calendar, New York Jets fireman style calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would sell pretty good. So we'll get 12-ish, maybe more guys to do this calendar that we can put out.
Make a PR guy do it. What's his name? Jared? Make him do it too.
Jared or Eric. I think Eric Gelfand, he would maybe put him on the cover. Yeah, get some coaches involved in it. We can get Ron Middleton to do it. He'd be fantastic. Sala for sure would want to do it. Sala would want to do it.
Hackett.
Brant Boyer, special teams guy. Hackett, maybe.
For sure.
They would definitely.
Hackett on the cover.
And in December is Woody.
Yeah.
December is Woody.
Chain on only with the with the firefighter pants on.
No shirt.
Shirtless, Woody.
Maybe a Jet Speedo.
Yeah.
On his head or on his? You're talking about underneath the thing.
Speedo, yeah.
From what I've seen with that chain, probably gonna need a triple XL Speedo on that Woody Johnson.
At least.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Quadruple,
hang the
maybe.
chain from it.
You know what I'm talking? You know,
Someone say great idea.
Knee-high socks, too.
especially if they're gonna raise. Well, then you got to worry about the top of that thing getting hit.
Well, you got to tuck. You got to
The
tuck
top
and
of the
roll.
socks.
Yeah, tuck and roll.
Yeah, you never know if the inside. It's like Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert said one time that he put icy hot on his knees. He's never going to do that again because obviously what happened. I'm like, Roy, that's not normal.
Yeah, that's just you, Roy.
Roy said, hey, just a little tip. Don't ever do this because it's going to happen. I'm like, Roy, you and about 4 other people on earth having that problem right now.
I think Greg Oden did respond. Like, yeah, don't do it.
And then Woody Johnson was like, boys, I've been waiting. You know, that's kind of what I've been
Join the club.
All right, we're running on 2 hours of sleep. Darius has a question for you about football, and this is a big topic. Big topic of conversation.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier with obviously what happened at the end of that Cowboys-Lions game. Have you had any experience with that? Obviously with, somebody reporting, somebody getting confused. And where do you think the blame should fall there? Is it on the ref? Is it on Detroit because they were trying to get a little too cute with it? What do you think about that?
I was part of the Fail Mary, DB. Mm-hmm. When the NFL got too cheap to pay their referees what they're due, and hired a bunch of people that didn't deserve to be on a high school field. They couldn't even ref my JC games.
First down.
Respect to NorCal junior colleges, because that's a high level of football. We wouldn't want those referees reffing our games. But
Not as good as Indy and Kansas, but
back in 2002, I don't know what it is now, but 2002, the California, especially Northern California, had the best football in the junior college ranks. But listen, there's been a lot of talk about the play, and I think everybody wants a little bit of accountability for sure. Now, I don't understand. I get it. I don't understand why 3 guys went to the referee. I saw Sewell went, Decker went and 70 went, right? And I don't know if that was the whole, you can see here Sewell and Decker, right? And then 70's running on. Now, I don't know what Brad was thinking here. It seemed like he left before what could be said. But I'm going to focus listen, a lot of these times there's certain plays that would negate this whole thing, right? So 2nd and 14, they throw the ball incompletion, right? So there's talk about the 40 seconds could have been lost. But I didn't want to focus on that. I want to focus on 1st and 10 after the interception. I believe there's a 5 or 6 yard carry by Pollard, and they call it tripping when it was Hutchinson who reached his foot out to try and trip the back. They called the tripping on Dallas. Have you guys seen this?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw the clip. I didn't know the full context, though.
So, first of all, I don't think it should have been a trip because he didn't get him down. Now, there are trips that happen and have happened. I mean, T.J. Watt got a sack on me a few years ago when he totally tripped me in a call, right?
No, cheater. That was a tackle with his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But trips happen, I think, a lot more than you think. And that was an attempted trip, but because they threw the flag, it should have been on Hutchinson. That half a distance to the goal, that's a first down. There's 40 more seconds or a timeout. I don't think the situation would have even been close had they just made this correct call. So this is, on the 29-yard line. Pollard runs, okay, so he gets 6 to maybe 7 to the 22. We're going to add 15 to that. So now it's first and 10 on the 11, right? They call this penalty on the on 89 there.
Blatant.
I don't understand how they do that. It's a total whiff of a call, just total miss. But also, Aiden didn't actually get it.
Touch.
So what would have been better in the situation for Dallas is 2nd 2.5, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you have a chance to an extra down for a first down. We're not starting back on a first down, right? Where then you have 3 downs. Now you have 2nd down. You can get another first down. Now you basically get an extra down, extra 40 seconds, or make them call a timeout. Shouldn't have been in this situation. I think, the response from referees, like they're going to protect their own. John Perry's protecting, obviously, his own. I will say I did see what MCDC said. That does happen all the time. Coaches will go to the referee before the game, say, here's the plays we may be running. Just be alert. This is the formation we're going to do. This is the guy that we want eligible. I think there was talk that he may have even drawn it up for them. That 100% happens all the time. They always go to them and talk about what trick plays they're going to run. I think as players, we know who the best refs are. And, I say this guy's name a lot, but he was the best. Gene Steratore was the best.
Paisano!
And I think there was too many times over the years where it wasn't a true meritocracy for the playoffs. Because you'd be in these games in the playoffs, and it should be, you got 4 wild card games, right, the first weekend, and then 4 divisional games, and then 2, right? So do you really need to have 10, counting at Super Bowl, 11 of the 16 or 17 crews, I guess it's 17, I think it's 17 crews, be represented? No, you don't. You don't. You just have the same, maybe the top 4, or maybe you go to 6 at the most. But it should be the top of the top. And Gene, and what I'm saying is that Gene and his crew should have been reffing every single round. I don't see why that doesn't make any sense. You're giving important playoff games to, in this example, let's say the first 4 games of the wild card weekend, right? You're going to give, what rated crew? You're going to give the 7th, or what would be the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th rated crews, those games. Those are important games. And then you're going to have the divisional round, and you're going to give it to the 4, 5, 6, and 7th rated crews. Why, if that's the case, why not have 1, 2, and 3 and 4 work the first weekend?
It's because everybody's
soft. Or maybe 3, 4, 5, and 6.
It's because everybody's soft, Aaron. That's why. Everybody's soft. Because you get a game. You get a game. You get a game. You worked hard this year. You get a game. Oh, I'm sorry. Heartbreak. You don't get to do it in the playoffs. You get a game. That's why. That is the reason why.
And I'm saying it's wrong. It should be a meritocracy. It should be the best crews. And if that's the same 4 or 5 crews, so be it. Look at the NBA. It's the same. It's the same couple crews once you get into the final rounds of the playoffs, right? Because it should be. I don't know if it is, but it should be the top-rated guys. It should be the same in the NFL, and because we know who the best crews are. And actually, part of the problem over the years has been then in the Super Bowl you create this like super crew that actually doesn't work together. Like there's a reason that crews work well together is because communication usually coming from the white cap and the umpire, who, unless there's a veteran guy on the field, and there are some great veteran line judge, back to the side judge, but who the best referees are. And when you get into a game, you're like, we have this guy as the line judge, you can talk to him. You have this guy as the umpire, okay, he's a little sensitive maybe. This guy's a white cap, you just know who the people are, but you also know who the best ones are. And I've said this many times too, there was, in the last 5-6 years, there's been a ton of the white caps who've retired who were at the top of their game. A lot of them, including John Perry, going to TV because they make a lot of money. They're not the ones working for the league. And it's a problem. It's a problem with the officiating. But again, it should be meritocracy. The best guys should get the best games.
I think they're going to fix it. I do believe. All the right questions are being asked to the right people from what I've been being told. Nice. So I think the NFL understands it's an issue. The meritocracy thing, that just feels like a mindset of being soft and like, thank you for your service this year and this is what you've earned and everything like that, as opposed to like, we only have a certain amount of games and you got to earn your way into it, which is... Meritocracy happens in professional sports. It's one of the only places it continues to take place. Everywhere else, you got to know somebody. Potential nepotism takes place. Networking takes place. You're able to have a gig. It's like professional sports is one of the last real meritocracies. Why not do it with the refs? Come on, especially in the biggest league. I think that's a good call. They have said that Brad Allen will not be reffing in the playoffs, allegedly on the internet. We have not heard that from Goodell. And we also heard that Brad Allen was not a part of the pregame meeting with MCDC when he was drawing up the plays. Somebody else was. They didn't relay the proper message to Brad, I guess. And now you got a whole new kerfuffle to break down in this entire story. Yeah, a lot of finger pointing. No, but it's not just this, though, because remember, when you point one finger, there's 3 fingers pointing right back at yourself. Remember that, asshole, Rich Rodriguez. Okay? So you got to do this one whenever you're blaming. You got to make sure. And I did that to Rich Rod. As soon as he said that, I said, well, and then it was out there then. Obviously, why are you such an asshole in this thing? But it is real. You got to take a little accountability on yourself. But we're in a world where a lot of people, the more layers you have, the more different people you can blame. It happens in everything almost.
It's a $1 billion business, and there's multi millions of dollars bet on this every single week. And there's franchises and fan bases and players' careers and coaches' careers that depend on these games. And you're talking about, and you're taking a home playoff game away from a city. That's 8-figure probably economic boom to that city.
It needs it.
Think about it from that standpoint. What happened to us in 12? We had a home game taken away from us by a freaking terrible call, and the NFL didn't want to actually give the refs what they deserve. And it took that game, if you guys remember, the next week, what happened?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Guess who was back?
So good.
The regular refs were back. So, again, that call, the way it was handled, was messed up. However, it was also should never have been a tripping call on Dallas. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I do.
It isn't just cut and dry like the NFL. The refs screwed the Lions. Now there was another game in Dallas a while back in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
That it had a controversial call. I think Foxy can probably speak to this one as well.
Oh yeah. Fourth quarter, Stafford to Pettigrew, pass interference, refs call it, and then they go, wait, no, wave it off. Detroit loses a playoff game.
Oh, that's because it was Detroit. They didn't want.
Yeah, boo-hoo, Detroit.
They want the star.
That's why they picked it up and they said, "Are we really?"
Can't do that.
In Jerry World again.
Can't do that.
Does it not seem like there's a lot of more outspoken conspiracy, NFL is rigged conspiracy theorists showing up?
Hey, last year, Aaron, I know you were in the
that.
middle of it last year and playing and everything, and there was a lot going on. Last year, if you live on the internet, you got to be able to follow a lot of different parts of the internet.
Yeah.
And shout out to the whole internet. I appreciate the love. Lucky to be a part of it. The whole internet had a good time the other day. But like the NFL is scripted thing was starting to cook in every part of the internet. Okay, every person or group that we follow from every different group of the internet, they were all starting to really start. The NFL is screwing us, especially with gambling happening. And then it grew to a fever pitch about week 14, week 15 last year, got real loud. So much so that the NFL was like, in the face of controversy, you lean into it. They make the commercial this year about the NFL script and everything. But then as things continue to happen, like this and other stuff that happens in football, it's like, somebody's writing this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's to screw me over every single time. That is literally the people that are talking about it. And it happens to be this person is Detroit more often than not. Yeah. You don't deserve it, Foxy.
It's terrible.
You don't deserve it, Foxy. You don't deserve it.
I will say, Pat and fellas, that if the Super Bowl is Baltimore and San Fran, and I'll tell you what, that Super Bowl 59 emblem better have jet green on it. Because I know you've seen that one, Connor. That's a real interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that today.
What are we talking about?
What happened?
What's the Jet 59? What you just tied the Ravens and the Niners
Don't worry.
into Super Bowl 59 into something.
Well, not like the
just look
logos,
at the
the
colors.
team colors that have been in.
Look at the colors.
Super Bowl.
The Ravens and the Niners. It's purple. It's red.
Bring it up, Foxy or somebody back
Seats
there.
on it.
Bring up Super Bowl 58.
You'll see it.
The emblem, put it on the screen, and then bring up 57 and 56.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
Feels like.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been
There's
waiting
a
in
lot
his
of
wine
people-
cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this
He's
thing.
hiding.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right. Obviously, a clip from this particular program was run on Jimmy Kimmel's show whenever Aaron brought up the list, and then Jimmy mocked him for it. Aaron has not forgotten about that, but here we are sitting right in front of that nice bottle of scotch. What do you say? I'm waiting to celebrate something.
Oh, yeah.
Something
He's
awesome.
been waiting
That's
for
the one.
You've been waiting for
Hey, I'll tell you what. If that list comes out, I definitely will be popping some sort of bottle.
Hey, you've been calling for it for a few years now. Anyone else notice this? Oh.
My God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They've known. They've known for years.
Like I'm saying, that 59 better be jet green. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, unless it's Colts blue. Remember, we got Anthony Richardson coming.
Could be.
Yeah.
Patriots blue might be there too.
I don't know. You've been jumping on the Minshew train. I feel like.
I love him. I do. I love. He shakes his shoulders.
Team loves him.
He'll throw a pick. Who cares? He'll just go right in there. He is awesome. This guy is phenomenal. Legitimate. What they did to the Raiders this weekend, I did not expect to happen. But with Minshew Mania running wild and Shane Steichen's big-ass brain, I mean, why not? Zaire Franklin's leading the NFL in tackles.
What? Dog.
I mean, we got a team. But with that being said, we drafted the future at number 4 overall. Gardner wins the Super Bowl this year. Trade.
I feel like Tay didn't get enough targets this weekend.
He didn't.
I appreciate you saying that.
21. You need a few more.
I didn't see much of the game because it wasn't on any of the TVs that we're at. Also, couldn't see the first half of Dolphins-Ravens, biggest game
That couldn't
of
change
the weekend.
Can't change channel.
And we can't change the channel once the games have been set, we were told at said sports bar. But they literally just changed the Colts-Raiders game off the TV that was right in front of me, which is why we sat there, and they moved it to another place. So they could change it, and they didn't change it. Then our guy Sean, shout out to Sean, had nose ring, great hair. Sean went to the back. He did some maneuvering for us, so we saw the second half of Dolphins-Ravens, even though he broke code there at said sports bar that we were at.
Yeah, and he also told us that the manager is a big dumb dipshit, and that's not on him. It was on the manager.
We don't know if he said that or not. I assume they're going to hear everything that we say here now. Sean with like a promotion, not a fire.
Too late.
I mean, Sean did great
Sorry,
work
Sean.
there. But anyways,
Question, AJ. Speaking of that game, what do you think when you're down by 30 with 4 minutes left in the game and the starting defense is still out there and your stud tears his ACL?
Yeah, that was not. I was watching that live and I saw it. I knew instantly it could not be good for Chubb. But I don't know when do you sub everybody out? Like that's the thing. Everybody doesn't really have. There's not as many backups as people think too. Like you can't just wholeheartedly take everybody out, but you can. I would definitely pick and choose and take some dudes out at that time.
I mean, I think, if you take out him, you take out Ramsey, for sure, you're down by 30.
What if they wanted to, though? What if they said no? Guys will fight and say, no, I don't care. I want to stay and stick it out with the boys. Like, they could have done that as well.
Well, McDaniel pulls down his joggers and he says no.
Listen, it's different on the other side. Like, if Myles Garrett stays in the game up 17 because he wants to get a couple sacks, he knows he's going to be throwing it. That's a different battle you're going to fight. Still, probably shouldn't be in a game. The game's over. It's a under a minute drive. But down 30 when you're just going to run the ball, I don't know.
Yeah. What about Lamar? Lamar was still out there when they were up a bunch. And that was like our first thought because it ended up being on TV. We couldn't hear it, obviously. But we see the score, and then we see Lamar on the field, and it's like, what are we doing? And then I think to myself, well, everybody's killing his stats this year. Everybody's like, his stats aren't good because he has rested in a fourth quarter early in the year as well because they've dominated people. And then he ends up healthy, of course, because he's Lamar Jackson. And he goes, what, 350? 351 or something like that?
18 to 21.
5
touchdowns.
I'll tell you what stat was good. That was 3 incompletions and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. Jeez. Anytime you're throwing more tuds than you have incompletions, pretty good day at the office, don't you say, Aaron?
Hey, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw this. He had a perfect rating, and then Huntley came in and threw a touchdown, and he had a perfect rating as well. So I think he may only throw one pass or a couple passes, but they both had perfect ratings. So
Baltimore has been on a miraculous run here. Niners in Niners, then Dolphins come to town, and they just neuter both of them. Yeah. Just absolutely neuter both of them. Tone actually has a question for you.
Yeah, Aaron, about the Ravens and the Niners, since they both just locked up the 1 seed, and if they sit guys this weekend, they'll have 2 weeks off. How do you feel about that? Like, as a quarterback, do you like having that much time off? Would you like to play in Week 18? What are your thoughts on that?
I think sit them. I think it's one of those ridiculous media talking points where it's a win-win. If you play them and a guy gets hurt, you're an idiot. You should have never played these guys. And then the other win is, if they start a little bit slow, if they're rusty in the divisional round, you should have played them in Week 18. It's ridiculous. The fact is, you've gotten this far with these studs. Take care of them, sit them down. They don't need to play if you're not playing for anything. If anything, you want to get them a little bit of work so it's not 2 whole weeks without playing. Play the first half. We did that a couple of years ago in Detroit. We played the first half, but there's not a lot that can come from playing. I don't believe in the whole rust thing. You're going to be hosting the playoff game in your stadium, rested against a team that's won a playoff game already because it's going to be some of the highest seed remaining. Or lowest, when I look at basically the team with the worst seeding left in the playoffs is going to come visit you, and it's a game you're going to be favored to win at your place. So I don't believe in the whole rust thing. You got to save your players from themselves sometimes, and I don't think there's a whole lot to be gained by playing those guys.
My rookie year, we were undefeated until we chose to lose. We started resting like Peyton and Jeff and everybody that was good at football seemingly, and then we rolled Curtis Painter out there behind like every swing offensive lineman we had, and I think a couple of backup tight ends were playing tackle, and we were going to lose the final 2 games to the Jets and to the Bills. But I think the boys were pissed afterwards because they could have had an undefeated season. That was kind of the thought. The rest was nice, but also potentially doing something historic was a decision that wasn't kind of weighed, I don't think, with all the players. I assume Peyton had some say.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't a part of those conversations. I was just a rookie. But, there is different situations, I think, that change that, right? Don't you think? Like, if you're going for history, I remember, Robert Mathis, a lot of the boys were like, Freeney, I think, we can, 72 Dolphins, the only ones that done that. But if any of those guys were to get hurt, we didn't have a very deep team. We would have been shit out of luck going into the playoffs, and the entire season would have been ruined. So it's a fine balance there at the end. I'm happy I don't have to make that decision.
I think, it's that for sure. I would want to play if we're undefeated. Definitely want to play, no doubt.
Got it.
The other reason to play is if there's an all-time record to be broken with your organization. So we had a situation like that in Detroit. I think Devontae needed 15 yards or something, and I wanted to be the one throwing to him. If Tay's going to go out there and play, I want to play. So we were already scheduled to play at least a half that day, so it wasn't even a question. But that'd be another reason to play. I mean, you're talking about the history of a franchise that goes back to the beginning of football itself, and being able to be a part of history would be pretty special.
Yeah.
But again, that situation, we were already going to play. But if we weren't scheduled to play and Tay's like, I want to play to break this record, I would have said, well, I'm going to play with you.
It was cool to watch that type of situation for Tay. I assume you guys lined him up at running back, had him play a little wheel, because we had Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark playing running back against the Buffalo Bills because a couple guys needed like 2 catches. Somebody needed like 5 yards receiving for like another 1,000-yard year, 100 catches year. They were literally drawing up plays in the snow seemingly. And by the way, we just walked right down the field. I mean, it was just like right down the field, score. All right, now who do we need? Dallas needs to get a couple. All right, got him at running back, tailback, got him slotted out. He's going in there. You need how many catches? 4. We right down the field again, and then boom, sideline rest of the time in the middle of a blizzard, and it was fantastic. Well, I'm like, these dudes are just playing games with these people out here. But congrats, there's incentives on the line, money on the line, history on the line. Those conversations are all going to come to the forefront later this week. I think we're gathering all the incentives that can be earned this last weekend because that's a big deal on who's going to be motivated a little bit more. Yeah. Speaking of motivation, Mr.
Playtime incentives too, right?
Yeah.
Playtime incentives would be interesting and catches and yards and all those things.
Yeah, you need to play 75% of the snaps. Then when you get to 73% of the snaps, they start forecasting like, we're going to arrest you. Like, whoa, it doesn't sound like you're...
That's happening too.
That doesn't sound like that's health reasons. It sounds like you're trying to screw me a little bit. No, we're looking out for you.
Okay.
I need about 15 more snaps. I'm doing the math here.
Multi-billion-dollar business, and sometimes they're playing games with a little $50,000 bonuses, $75,000 bonuses. You know,
it's the best. It's the highest level, man. Remember, it's the highest level, Aaron. That's there's no greater league than the NFL. Ty has a question for you though about Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, Aaron, just curious if you've paid any attention to kind of the shitstorm that's going on in Denver right now. We heard Russ came out and talk and basically said, like, hey, yeah, the Broncos did approach me about restructuring my contract or waiving my injury guarantee or whatever the case may be. Do you think all the stuff that's happened, like, was that laid out by Sean Payton to him when he first got there? Like, hey, I don't really want you to be my guy going forward. We'll try to make it work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to get rid of you. And also, like, now a lot of people are saying, like, hey, this is dirty pool. This is, negotiating in bad faith or just, and it's going to really affect guys wanting to come play for the Broncos moving forward. Like, what's your take on that whole situation, and do you think that's true?
Do I think what part is true?
Like, does that how much does that affect guys wanting to go play for Denver moving forward?
That's a great question. I think people that are just money motivated, and there's always in free agency, there's the guys that just want to get paid, and there's the guys that want to get paid and be on a good team. So guys that want to just get paid, it won't make a difference. I think that's just the way the NFL is. Guys who care about character and chemistry and look, the NFL is it's a great profession. It's a tough business, and this type of stuff is probably more commonplace than you would think. Obviously, we're talking about a premier player here and some bizarre circumstances. I think anybody can probably look at the situation objectively and say that Russ probably wasn't Sean's first choice. It definitely paints the last however many weeks in a way different light, though, doesn't it? From play calling, from interactions they had on the sidelines. Listen, there's an old adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Russ and I have had some battles over the years. And Seattle and Green Bay, were two of the premier teams in the 2010s, especially. And we had some battles over the years. And there was a great rivalry, and we couldn't seem to beat them other than in the Phil Mary game in Seattle. They couldn't beat us in Green Bay. But I think we have, more of a common enemy based on some comments that have been said about, a dear friend of mine, and then seeing this come out. So my heart actually goes out to Russ for dealing with this. I think, say whatever you want about him. Like, I think he's handled this pretty well. I definitely applaud him for speaking on it because it's a tough situation, and he basically said what he said what went down, which is pretty scandalous that they would do that.
Sketch.
Now, obviously, there's there's the team would probably say, oh, we're just trying to get him to, move the date on the, injury clause or whatever. It's still crazy to threaten we're going to sit you if you don't do this.
Franchise quarterback. Franchise quarterback.
If that actually happened. And it's not like he's having a shit year. He definitely is playing better than he did last year and taking care of the football. And then they went on a run, too. I mean, they lost 3 or 4, but they won, 5 or 6 in a row, I think?
Yeah, 5.
And in the midst of this, him knowing that they just wanted to bench him and get rid of him. So kudos to Russ for dealing with the shit situation. And, that's about all I'm going to say about everybody else in Denver.
And that's all I got to say about that. Way to go, Russ.
Hell yeah.
I do like that the common hatred of a man can potentially bring you two together even more.
It's glorious.
You know what I mean? That is a glorious thing. It's been happening since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
A lot of wars actually have had alignment because of said thing.
Absolutely.
Well, we hate each other originally, but we don't hate each other as much as we hate that person. So we are going to now. We thought hate can really bring a lot of love, can it? And maybe you and Russ will be able to share a little moment or two here because of the situation's brewing with Sean Payton. At his age, everything he's accomplished, and he's handling it right. You said whenever he addressed it, he had a Broncos hat on, was standing in front of his Broncos locker. Yeah, so they just basically told me they wanted to steal $37 million from me.
That's all.
That's pretty much why. That was a surreal scene there almost,
You could tell he was emotional about it. It affected him. Which, of course, it would. Hey, great win against Kansas City, but we're going to bench your ass unless you move the shit around.
Because your knee, we don't need it,
Can't have it.
We need everything to stay. And we want you to play.
Bad.
But we don't want you to get hurt right now.
For free, though.
Yeah, no.
It was just the front office, though, right? It wasn't...
Sean Payton. Wasn't Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't an enemy that you guys share.
No, we know Sean Payton's got control. He's calling the shot.
Oh, yeah, that's why he signed there.
Yep.
The alignment.
And if Sean Payton wins next year or the year after, now they're going to have to eat a massive dead cap next year. So if they're able to win, there will be some real salary cap gymnastics that they'll have to do. But if they win 2-3 years down the road, nobody will remember.
No.
Nobody will remember.
Good.
But the man who founded the Danger Witch is going to remember this.
Yeah, he is.
Forever.
And I can't wait to see his comeback trail, his revenge tour next year. As we end here on ESPN in our first show of the year of 2024, we can't thank you all enough for allowing us to do this for a living. Who knows if 1 year from now we're still able to do this.
Sure.
I hope.
If we're still able to create a terrible crop ass show.
For sure.
We're going to try every single day from now until then to keep doing it. Have a great one. Be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Goodbye. Nailed it. Aaron, professional send-off.
1 for 1 on the year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for.
2 for 2, actually, first hour.
True.
Yeah.
Go. Hey, go. Good start.
Pretty exhausted, too. Pretty exhausted. Yesterday was a long one, Aaron. Yesterday was a long day.
Yeah, I give you guys credit, man. I will say, once that first game was over, I went to the main broadcast feed.
Oh, you missed out.